interrupt you,
Chairman.
but I don't have much time. Well, can we agree that 1.9% is not acceptable to most Americans?
So I think it's a very disappointing level
Yeah,
of performance.
we can agree on that, okay? Let me ask you this. I wasn't here in '08. What did the community banks do wrong in 2008? By community banks, I mean $50 billion or less. What did they do wrong?
Well, community banks were not the reason for the financial crisis. It was larger institutions that took risks and risks that developed outside of the banking system
Right.
that resulted in the financial crisis.
I think I heard you say nothing. They did nothing wrong. I don't want to put words in your mouth. So how come they're subject to Dodd-Frank? The same rules that apply to the people who did do something wrong, either because of incompetence or greed.
It's not the case that the same rules apply to community banks that apply to larger institutions, and the most severe requirements in Dodd-Frank apply to the very largest and most systemic institutions. The Fed and other banking regulators have tried to tailor our supervision of banks according to their risk profiles, and a large part of Dodd-Frank does not apply at all to community banks.
I'm going to go over a little bit, Mr. Chairman. You're not saying that Dodd-Frank hasn't imposed new regulations on community banks, are you?
I said it has imposed some, but I said large parts of Dodd-Frank do not apply.
Right, but many parts do.
Some parts do.
Okay. So the water's not 12 feet deep, it's only 10 feet deep, but you can still drown in 10 feet of water.
So we have done our best to tailor our regulations so that they're appropriate to the risk profiles of banks, but the regulatory burden on community banks is high. I would agree with you.
But why? You just said they didn't do anything wrong in '08. I don't understand why.
So we think it's important for all firms to have strong capital standards, including community banks, but the most severe increases have been imposed on larger banking organizations with more complex activities.
Well, did insufficient capital among the community banks cause the meltdown in '08?